LSU has reached double-digit commitments with Corey Kine announcing his, and we got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You gotta help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. Today, we need to talk about four-star tailback Corey Kine deciding to commit to the LSU Tigers. That means that they pick up another blue chip recruit, and like their fourth in 3 weeks with Garrett Nussmeier and Xavier Carter and Landon Jackson, and now a top tailback in the top 247 and in the 247 sports composite coming out of Ohio State's backyard, Roger Bacon, where he has put together over 5,200 yards rushing and over 80 touchdowns in his career so far, and is coming off of a 2,200 yard rushing season. The comp for him, though, is one Kenneth Dixon at a La Tech playing for the Baltimore Ravens for some time. He's thickly built. He's got deceptive speed. I think he's faster than what his 40 dash time would tell you. And he has a real knack for hitting holes and a real knack for making himself available out of the backfield. I think that he could be a power back. He could also be a high volume back. And he's going to give you a nice balance to a guy like Ty Davis Price, right? I also look at LSU, and they're moving up the board with 189 points in the 247 sports composite. They vault from number 15 in the rankings to number 11 in the rankings, and pushing toward that top 10 spot and perhaps even a top 5 finish in this 2021 class, as they are hard charging in May, following Tennessee, who is also hard charging in May with 3 commits in the last 24 hours, including the top dual threat quarterback in the state of Texas in Caden Salter. Now, what I find to be most intriguing about LSU is they have been doing this with quality, right? To finish as a top 5 recruiting program in any cycle, you're probably going to have between 15 and 20 blue chippers. That's 4 or 5 star recruits. And LSU has been really good about getting those kids to commit. And Kevin Falk is showing you what he's capable of in his push to get talented running backs, not just on campus, but from everywhere. Being able to go into Cincinnati, Ohio, and get a kid that has an Ohio State offer to commit to go to play at LSU is a big deal. And it's also kind of like a 1-for-1, because it wasn't that long ago that Jair Brown decided to commit to Ohio State coming out of the Louisiana area, and he's 2022, so there's a long way to go there, but they're kind of swapping commits as I see it, and that's kind of fun. It also means that LSU is doing everything they can to keep pace with the rest of the SEC. That'd be Florida right there with Tennessee, and we know that Alabama is going to come on strong when the season gets here, because they'll show that they're about it. They're my pick to win the 2021 college football playoff national championship, along with Clemson, who has been outstanding in their recruitment and make the Final Four for Kendall Daniels, which I'll speak about later today. I also find it fascinating that the running backs position has been in such high demand here the last couple of weeks, because, man, everybody's been sending out a bunch of offers, but not everybody's been getting those offers accepted. Will Shipley decided last week that he was going to commit to play at Clemson. He's the number 1 all-purpose back in the 2021 cycle. Travion Henderson and Evan Pryor, both, of course, are in the Ohio State 2021 class. And we're seeing that this well is starting to dry up. But that means that LJ Johnson, Kamar Wheaton, a couple of OU targets are still on the board. And I think this means that Oklahoma might end up in a 2-horse race with SMU of all teams. And SMU is going to be a problem for mid-tier Big 12 programs, mid-tier SEC programs, mid-tier Pac-12 programs. Sonny Dykes is quietly rebuilding the monster that once was the Pony Express in the early 80s with Craig James and Eric Dickerson. One of my favorite stories about Craig James is he ain't as fast as Dickerson, but he's plenty fast enough, right? I think that if Savion Byrd, who announced Oklahoma in his top 14, it's hard to take a top 14 that seriously, but along with Kamar Wheaton, that he joined up with Preston Stone, you could see what kind of a program they could have in 2022, 2023 if they get those guys. And Kamar Wheaton was a high-value target for both LSU and Oklahoma, and I believe both of them would take 2 running backs. But you got to think that DeMarco Murray sees this and thinks, I got to make sure that I get on Kamar and let him know that they just took a LSU running back at this time when kids are being told your spot might not be there if you don't want to take it right now. I talked with Evan Pryor about that on this very channel not a week ago, and he was very forthright about it, and I appreciate that. But kids are being told in no uncertain terms. Hey, if you want it, take it now because it might not be here come the fall. And I think that's also what we're going to see. We're about to see a really intriguing time for decommitments because with the flood of commitments coming in during this period where nobody can travel and nobody can go to campus, what happens when they can? What happens when the kids can take a visit somewhere else? Because not everybody has Dabo Swinney's no-trip policy. And you might see some moving and shaking based entirely on how teams finish, right? Because we saw LSU was able to finish near the top and really trade up off of its national championship run as it became clearer to kids that they were going to play in the SEC championship game and that they won the SEC championship game and then they were going to play in the college football playoff. You saw that some kids that wanted to go to LSU ended up elsewhere, right? And you also saw that with the way that some of these positions are being played, notably running back, quarterback, there's a different value put on different positions under your different schemes, right? Clay Helton has tried to revamp his entire model by hiring away LSU's high-profile video coordinator who was coming up with their slick highlight videos and trying to rebuild the brand that is USC football and has quite a bit of cachet, not just on the West Coast, but nationally. You'll see this with Notre Dame, who went all out to get a 5-star running back last year. Right? You'll see this repeatedly with North Carolina and Mac Brown as he is trying to remind people that this is still a football school, which it's not, but it'd be a nice trick if he could pull that off. And we even have Maryland fans that are feeling all kinds of Brody because LSU took a quarterback and Caleb Williams had listed LSU, Oklahoma, and Maryland as his top 3. It doesn't feel like that LSU is going to end up with 2 quarterbacks in the same class this year, let alone 2 blue chip quarterbacks or the top quarterback in the 2021 class. So Maryland feels like they got a real shot here to win Caleb Williams because he's from the area. He's from Washington, D.C. I also know that all you got to do is take a look at what Maryland's been in football the last few years or even last year, and you'll know that Mike Locksley has his work cut out for him. But he has landed a couple of blue chip recruits and turned Rakeem Jarrett from LSU, flipped him around signing day into a Maryland Terrapin. That's a 5-star wide receiver. So it's within reason to think that this is possible. The last thing that I would mention here is that Corey Kine is exactly the kind of SEC tailback that I'm used to seeing, right? I think he could fit in that same mold as a Najee Harris or even TJ Yeldon at Alabama. I don't know that his ceiling is as high as Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but his ceiling is, or his floor is Nick Brossette. Whatever that does for you. I like Nick Brossette. I thought that he was a good enough player. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that much better. If you can get a Clyde Edwards-Helaire, fine. Also, John Emery joining Ty Davis-Price over there. They're going to be good tailbacks. So LSU's in good shape in the future and in the present. All right, that's it for me. Doses.